In this video, I'm going to go through the different options as far as how we're going to access our mapping program, ArcGIS Pro. And this first one that I'm going to introduce is if you have a computer or a desktop, a personal one, a laptop, in which it's powerful enough that it can handle a big program that does a lot of different things. So this is strictly for those of you who can do this. Further, this is those of you who do not have an Apple device but have a Windows device. So it's very important. So for this first option is if you have a personal desktop or a laptop that is a Windows a computer. All right, so to get to our particular ArcGIS Pro, you can actually download it onto your system, onto your device. To do that, analysis and modeling. And then you'll find, let's go ahead and do ArcGIS Pro 2.9. You can also do ArcGIS Pro 3.0. I have not gotten a chance to play around too much with it. It's pretty much the same. It's just newer, slicker looking buttons, especially at the beginning. And it's just a little bit more of a design improvement over 2.9. Now I'm going to go through some options for those of you who do not have maybe the huge computer or the storage on a personal device to do all of this stuff. But what you can do is you can use something called IU Anywhere. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to this. The first option I'm going to go over is one in which if you have an Apple computer, you still can't utilize. But I will go through another option using IU Anywhere for those of you who do have Apple computers who still want to utilize ArcGIS Pro, which is built off of a Windows platform, even though you have an Apple computer, so you can still utilize it. So go to IU Anywhere. You can essentially search for that or find it via the UITS website. From here, you do your rigmarole, typically we do, and you go ahead and log in using your ID. And what will happen is you might see this Citrix Workspace app start to pop up. And after you do it the first few times, it won't come up and it'll change over time. And so to do this, you can go ahead and click on the Detect Citrix Workspace app or click on the Use Lite version option. And once you get in there, you should see something that looks like this. It might vary from your desktop to mine as far as the screen, what you would see, but should see the same thing. You should see home, apps, and desktops. And so this first option is for those of you who want to use ArcGIS Pro, but don't want to actually have it on to your device, don't want to actually store it onto your device, the program, but you still want to use it and store your files on your particular desktop or on your particular laptop. So it's essentially a way to use the program via IUPUI or IU's website. So go ahead and click on Apps, and we'll go down and you'll find ArcGIS Pro right there. And so from here, you go ahead and you click on that, click on Open, and this is once again, if you are an IUPUI student using a Windows device in which you don't want to put the actual entire program onto your hard drive, this is your option here. And so you'll have this situation, the first time especially, it's kind of slow in getting started. And you should come across this particular page once the ArcGIS Pro finally gets going. And to do this, go down to the second option, your ArcGIS organization's URL, and all you do from here is type in IU, click on Continue, and you'll probably have to do the typical thing again where you do your username and passphrase and all of that. That then will log you in and get you to the first opening page for ArcGIS Pro, which will then get you started for the first exercise. Now I want to talk about an option for those of you who have an Apple device who want to access ArcGIS Pro. And so this is something utilizing what's called the virtual PC. So this is where it can be challenging, and as you get going this semester, one of the things you'll note is the due dates for the exercises, especially exercises 1 through 3. They're flexible. What I'm saying is give you time to get used to figuring out your system. What is your procedure that you're going to use to access ArcGIS Pro? To do that, I've asked the school to add what is called the VPC STC desktop to your IU Anywhere. So you should have this added to your desktop here, VPC STC. So I'm going to go ahead and add that as a star, a favorite. What that means is when I go to my home page, when I open this every time, it'll be there. So what this is a virtual desktop. So this is going to be confusing. You're going to have your own desktop, which you see here. You have your screen. I'm going to go ahead and open this. It's going to open up a desktop onto my screen here. And so essentially this is a virtual PC or a virtual desktop in which you can then access ArcGIS Pro using this particular method. Now I will warn you, in semesters past, this has been really wonky. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. They're trying to fix it. They're trying to make this better. So this is, an option for those of you who have an Apple computer. First thing I highly suggest you do is when you see this particular pop-up here, your virtual desktop is attempting to access your local files. And so here is your virtual desktop, and it's trying to access your own desktop. I highly encourage, in fact, I say, do this. Click on the read write access. What that's going to do is going to be able to access your computer, the device that you're using to access this IU Anywhere. So this could be a school computer in which you're actually using a thumb drive to connect to as far as that local file. Or an external drive. So it's something else to keep in mind. And so when you're saving files in this particular course, an unfortunate situation, I think it's still the case, we'll see if it is, but I just want to warn you that if you save stuff to this desktop, to this virtual desktop, and then you close it, essentially all those files go away. That's why it's very important that you click the read and write access option here, because what it'll do is it'll allow you to save things so that you can keep it. So if you want to take a break or maybe do something the next day, it'll still be there when it's saved actually on your local file. But you'll figure out your system as we go throughout the semester. So I'm going to go ahead and click on read write access here. And then over here, the start button, go to Analysis and Modeling, and you'll find ArcGIS Pro there. And here we are at the main page. Now, to go back and forth between your desktops, and you got the virtual and your own, go up here to this top, which you can move around. So if this gets in the way of being able to see stuff, you can move it. And go ahead and click that and see Window. And so what I have here is I have two desktops. I have my own desktop in the background, and then here is my virtual desktop. And so that's kind of, I wish you can't drag and drop. So that's where saving things via files becomes kind of tedious as you figure out, the various buttons you have to click to get things to save from the virtual PC to your actual own desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and now disconnect from here. And what that does is it takes away and removes that virtual PC, and so I'm back to where I was beforehand. The very last option, and this is, I guess, there's two options here, in which, if you so choose, you can go anywhere on campus. And you can, of course, go to our meeting room where we meet, Cavanaugh Hall 008C. Unfortunately, in that room, ArcGIS Pro is not loaded onto the computers. So you would have to do the same procedure that we just went over in terms of using IU Anywhere. And so you essentially use a student desktop there in that classroom. You essentially log on to the computer, and then you do that same process I just did beforehand as far as going on to IU Anywhere and saving all of your stuff there. I add another option, and that is in Cavanaugh Hall 209, which is a geography classroom, kind of a geography hangout room, let's say. It's a student room, which we have student workstations. We do have ArcGIS Pro. So if you are going to be on campus, especially on a Thursday, I will be around, and I'll be more than happy to open up the door or allow you access into that room so that you can work on a desktop using an ArcGIS Pro that's already loaded onto a desktop. So that's our last option as far as accessing ArcGIS Pro for this particular course this semester.